Okay, sorry about that. I had a never mind. Anyway, so if you can afford to get into a mastering studio, and don't think money's the bottom line, because sometimes those mastering studios have artists they need music for. So maybe you can trade a song. Always ask them, hey, I'm just a real person when it comes down to it. And everything I've built, I tell people all the time, I had nothing. I started off when I was 10 with a lawn service. I sold the lawn service, took that money, did something else, but there were points where, I made a mistake, invested in the wrong thing and went broke. It's happened to me several times in my lifetime. And I had to start over with no money, no credit, no nothing. And I still blew up. Okay? So you're not talking to somebody who, once they blew up, they stayed up. I've blown up, been super wealthy, broke, super wealthy, broke, super wealthy. I understand what the average person goes through, and I understand what the average artist goes through, and it's a struggle. And so that's why when I talk to you, I'm telling you these things because I know what it is for you to have to go through it. And if you can drop your pride and your ego for a moment, this is what can happen. You can go to a master and still say, hey, honestly, this is all I have. This is all I have to work with. I don't know how we can work it out, but do you have programs? Something that we can work out, A lot of the times they'll say, hey, you know what? I like what you're doing. Let's work this fee out for you, okay? In order for me to give you this fee, you got to promise that I'm going to be the one mastering your album, say for a year or the next year or two. There's all kinds of different things because every single engineer has been where you are right now. If you think your engineer doesn't play music and doesn't sit at home and write his music and then brings it to the studio after hours and clocks in and charges himself music to record in his own studio, you're wrong. Most of them do. Most of them record in their own studios and they charge themselves. So most of them will work with you. Okay, they'll work it out. I'm not saying all of them will, but they will. You can also find those schools, which is something that I did early on. Was I found the schools that do the work studies, where they do film and things like that. I used those to teach the students how about music. And the professor was really cool. So he would have me come in and we record the albums. Most of the time I had the tracks already done. But there was a few times he wanted me just come in and from beginning start creating in the studio so that they could get used to being in the creation process. And so I used these schools for like 2 years. And the only thing I had to do was give them a ASCAP license to be able to use it for educational purposes, so they could use the video and the audio that they recorded of me for educational purpose to teach other students. You got to get out the box, especially now. Nowadays, you are free. You are so free because your creativity has no limitations whatsoever. That's why I stopped making the music videos, with the average cameras and stuff, because nowadays, you guys can make some pretty great videos with very little money. I've done it with about $100, so I know that you can actually do it. Now you can join Adobe Creative. If anybody who knows that I use a lot of Adobe products. Adobe Premiere is one of my favorite softwares to work in. So you may see me work in other video editing softwares, but Adobe Premiere is what I use to cut and edit my videos, as well as animations, all of it. So you can do it. You're free. Okay? Money is not the thing that will be holding you back. And I'm sorry my music cut off. I was watching some house music. I love house music. I love all music, but house, jazz, classical. I love everything. Never mind. So, what you want to do is try to work it out with a mastering studio if you can. your music could come out so much better. You could even do it yourself. I've been taking mastering classes online just to touch back in on it. I haven't done it since '98, as far as like studying it and learning the new techniques and all that. And with all the new technology, even I had to take some online classes to see some of the new tricks and see some of the newer guys have so many good little things they do, little tips, and their workflow is, efficient. So it never hurts to educate yourself. There's so many free online courses and classes. I'm doing it for film right now. I do it for a lot of different things, and I recommend that you spend some time educating yourself. If you're still making garage videos, and I used to do it because I knew that the average person could not afford to make really nice videos, so I stopped doing those and started putting together more professional quality ones. For Black Butterfly, we're actually shooting a short film, a short movie. So, I'm really excited about that. But you can get you a nice Sony, JVC, Panasonic, Canon camera and shoot you a very nice video. It's how creative you are with what you have. And that's the bottom line, is how many of you have that thinking outside the box and making it happen with what you have, or the friends you have, or whatever resources you have, making it work from that point. I don't know what all this. Quit. You're interrupting my video. So you wanna think about those things, okay? It's not about money. It's about being real, And like I said, there's been many times in my life that I've had $1 million deals on the table, and I didn't have the money to back them. And I just had to keep it real. I bought Erotica magazine like that. When I showed up to the meeting, I had on holy jeans, a t-shirt, and a business jacket on. And I remember, I'm not going to say his name, but I remember the guy saying, wow, you're pretty darn confident. I said, that's because I'm not here to talk to you about how I look. I'm here to talk to you about business. And I promise you, you give me a moment of your time, what I say, you're going to want to hear. And he sat down, we ordered some Starbucks coffee, and I talked for about 15 minutes. And then I stopped and I said, now, I don't have the money to buy Erotica magazine from you, but we can work something out. We can do a contract this way, we can do a contract that way. He said, stop. He said, you know what? He said, you showed up to a meeting in holy jeans, a t-shirt, and a business jacket on. And true, you pulled up in a Mercedes, but then you pitched me this idea and then turn around and tell me you have no money? And I said, yeah. He said, I love what you're talking about. I'm not going to sell you this magazine. I'm going to give it to you just because I want to see what you're talking about. What you just told me was phenomenal. I love it. You might want to consider getting another pair of jeans for the next meeting. And he gave me the magazine, signed the contracts and everything. And I turned it into Erotica 7, and 7 representing the higher self or God or the universe, however you want to put it. The point is, I started almost a multi-million-dollar company, one of my magazines, off of nothing. Just simply being real, being honest about where I was, and presenting solid visions and plans and ideas of what I would do if I had it. And he liked it. That's it. So there's no excuse. There's never no excuse. And I can't be any more real than I have been. I try to touch people by just being who I am and being honest about how you can make stuff happen. Some people like it, some people don't. So what next? I'm not here to convince you to chase your dreams. I'm here to tell you there's other ways besides going to the bank and breaking yourself. There's other ways to make your dream happen. And you have to understand, you have to have a vision of what your dream really is. I remember there's so many people, including the Dreaming Da Vinci Records artist Mystique. She just wanted to be the biggest star on stage. And I said, wow, that's pretty interesting. I said, most of those celebrities have a very short career. 15 years is not long in that industry, especially because when you get to that level, your expenses match your income. No matter what your income bracket is, as you go up, so does your expenses. Okay, so if you make $1 a day, that's just an example. Please tell me you don't make $1 a day. But if you did, you would have $1 a day lifestyle. You make $10 a day, you have a $10 a day lifestyle. You make $100,000 a day, you have a $100,000 lifestyle. Okay. Now, what happens to a lot of people is they have this $100,000 lifestyle. All of a sudden, they don't have the $100,000. That is when you have a problem. Okay. So, as you grow, you will find out really quickly not only your own personal taste and stuff like that, but the way you do business. Everything gets more expensive. As your income grows, so do the expenses. Okay? Even when you're conservative, and I wouldn't say conservative is the wrong word, even when you're a naturalist like I am, you like the simpler things in life. My expenses go way through the roof. Okay? When my money's through the roof, so are my expenses. Okay? And you're talking to somebody who goes to Vietnam and sleeps in the huts with the dirt still on the ground. Okay? So I'm not like bougie at all. I'm very grounded and very simple. And I can tell you for a fact that as your money grows, so do your expenses. Okay? So, and it's a way to force you to keep growing. You want to know why the people who have a lot of money keep making more money? Is because they get more creative about ways to make money. And then they got to keep going, because if they stopped, then their income drops and these expenses are there that they can't cover. Okay, and I have another story about that, but that's a whole different conversation. Now, back to you and your music. So you're thinking out the box. Let's say you have what I started off on. My first synthesizer that I bought was a Yamaha DX7. Okay, and the first song to hit the radio that I produced on that was Bob George. Okay. If you ever see a Yamaha DX7, you probably fall out laughing because it looks like a little kid's keyboard, even though it was actually a very real miniaturized synthesizer. It was the first compact mini synthesizer that Yamaha wanted to get out, because they were those guitar synthesizers start getting more popular, and so Yamaha wanted to take it another step. Like, shit, pull it out your pocket. So it was bad. It was a nice board. I miss it a lot. I had created this one sound under the frog sound. I was messing around with this tune and sent it off. And the next thing I knew, I got a call saying, hey, in your area, I asked them to play your song. So it's going to come on now. It's going to be on my next album. And sure enough, turn on the radio. Everybody started screaming and hollering. It was my first success. And the name Love Sexy wasn't just a local producer in Colorado. I had just now become a national producer and a ghostwriter. And I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that phone call. I'll never forget the day I sent it. And it was the first song that I sent out to a major artist. And at the time, we were pen pals and talk on the phone here and there. But we knew that he would get busy as he grew, and he did. And it was the best experience I could have ever had. that first taste of success. And I did it in my grandmother's basement. I was only, how old was I? I was like maybe, I want to say 15, 14. And, you know, my music was very serious to me way before that. But that was when I really, the Yamaha DX7 was the only keyboard I could afford. You know, I couldn't afford a real expensive keyboard, and I got it used. So I did everything on that keyboard, and because back in the day, the keyboards could be split into two, but you couldn't lay tracks. I put the drums on one side and the keyboard on the other, and I played the drums and the keyboard at the same time, and I recorded it to a tape. And then I took the tape and put it in this boombox, and I set this boombox up with a clean tape, and I played that while I played another part, and I recorded it into that boombox. How many of y'all can say you did that and had a success at it too? Yeah, back in the day, we was creative. We didn't let nothing stop us from making it happen. I can tell you for a fact, another person who did that, I'm not going to tell you. I'll let him tell his own story one day. A lot of the artists back in the day, we used to have two boom boxes. We borrow our neighbor's boom box, and we put a clean tape in there, record something, record it back, doing another track into another boom box. And that was how we did it. You know, that started the whole hip hop culture movement as far as music goes. But we just wanted to get out there. You know, the money wasn't our focus. It was being out there and letting the money follow that. So nowadays, a lot of people are very money focused, and we tend to let money say what we can and cannot do. And I, as much as I keep saying it, there is no amount of words I can say that says money is not your end all. It's you. You're the limits of what you can and cannot do. So get your music out there. For the loopers, I would like for you guys to be very creative. MC Light, when we did this show in Colorado, one thing she said was that she thought that poetry was the future of music. I remember the guy that asked her, what does she see as the future of music? And she said poetry. And then, you know, when we did our private interview together, she said, you know, sampling's not original. You know, looping other people's music's not original. Doing covers of songs and all that is great, but be you. Don't be scared to be you. And I know a lot of clubs want you to do some covers and stuff like that, but just be you. You know, Earth, Wind, and Fire got out there doing them. You know, Prince got out there doing him. MC Light got out there doing MC Light. You know, Ozzy Osbourne got out there doing Ozzy. You know, the people who really blow up, their focus is them and making it happen, and they're dedicated to that. And that's what I see a lack of vision in. That's where I see a lack of drive in, is that a lot of people have the egos, and I understand it because it's a hard business. So you have to be like, I'm the shit, I can do it, I'm this, I'm that. You know, I understand that you have to do all that. You don't have to, that you do that, because the truth of the matter is we doubt ourselves all the time. We doubt if our music's good. We doubt if we have what it takes to make it. And so we have to constantly build ourselves up, and other people tend to see it as arrogance, okay? But the truth of the matter is you have to do that because you're human, and yes, you're talented. But while we're doing that, we should also be educating ourselves, if that's what we're going to do. And we should also be as creative as possible. You know, I think Andre 3000 just blew me away from the very first time I saw him. And as I followed his career, I was just so amazed. He was one of the artists that I so greatly wanted to work with. And I hate that he's not in the music industry anymore. And the Outkast as a group is not there, because Outkast brought something that hasn't been hit for a long time, and that was just pure creativity. They brought it from the hood, they brought it from the rock, they brought it from the unity. I mean, they just brought it every single level you can think of. Outkast brought it to us, the way it's supposed to be done. And I mean, everybody felt everything they were doing. Everything. Idlewild, from my understanding, was 5 years behind release schedule because they refused to release it until it was the way they wanted it. And that movie did excellent because they stuck by their guns. They didn't fall for the pressure. They didn't fall for the money stuff. They was like, hey, you know what? This is our vision. This is our life. We're going to tell our story the way we want to. And you guys are just going to have to wait. But it's going to be worth the wait. And it was worth every single penny. That was an awesome movie. I'd like to see that in everybody. We're not here to compete with each other. We're not here to talk bad about each other. We are here to make music and change lives. And whatever your view is, you're here to bring it. And hopefully it's one of love. Hopefully it's you can bring it in a way that other people can relate to you. But I'd like to see you be a lot more creative. Take time. Don't just make a beat. Get your rap on or your sing on and then put it out there. Be like, there it is. Ba-dow! Take a little bit of time. And I know sometimes it sounds like I do it, but what I actually do is release pre-recorded samples to keep people interested, to let them hear a little bit about what the song is about, or maybe even the whole song. But the songs aren't done, so it's not the final way the song is going to sound. So I promise you that the songs that you might hear on my SoundClouds or stuff like that, they won't sound like that on the album. You probably won't recognize the song from the SoundCloud version to the CD version. You probably will hear two different songs. And that's something that you guys can do. There's so much that we can do to make things very pleasant. But the first thing is to look around yourself and say, this is what I got to work with. And the best tool I have in my arsenal is me. And then get creative and make it happen. I don't care if you sell your CDs out your car. I don't care if you give them away just to get people to start listening to your music. I don't care if you play the dirtiest, nastiest dive clubs. Do it. All the greats. I remember, I think I keep bringing him up because he recently passed and then my cousin passed, but I've had a lot on my mind. But I remember one time Prince said he doesn't care if there's one person in the audience or 1 million people. He is going to bring on the show of a lifetime. And I kept that to heart, and I have done shows where there's like maybe 10 people in the audience, and I rocked that stage just as hard as I've done in front of 100,000 people or 300,000 people. And when I get to 1 million people coming to one of my shows, I will rock that stage just as hard as I do when I sit here and play with my nieces and nephews, and I will bring it every single time. I want the people to feel every single thing I do on that stage. And I want you guys to bring a show. Go out and check out D'Angelo. Go out and check out Macy Gray, Kiss. And I think there's a Kiss knockoff group that's doing an excellent rendition of them. But, I mean, yes, they're bringing their music, but they're bringing a show. I know for me, the independent artist that I am just amazed by is SF1. I really love his performance, and I've been to 3 of his shows, and every time it's something different. is spectacular. He always surprises the audience. Like, I was at one show, everybody's sitting there, he's rocking out the stage, everybody's waiting for him to tap dance. All of a sudden, all these belly dancers and flags started coming through the audience, and I was just like, wow, every time I turn around, this kid is doing something different and something fantastic. And his shows are just amazing, and they're enjoyable, and I love them. And and he charges like $10 to get into a show. So I'm like, wow, this is like a show that people would pay $30-$40 to go see. I want that for all of you. Yes, do $100,000 show. Do those kind of shows that people would pay $80 to go see, and then make it affordable for everybody. And you'll make Ricky Johnson is my marketing director. Very good friend, very wise person. One thing he always keeps continuously telling me is a little money will make you big money. That means you can sell more CDs at $3 than you can $5, and you can sell more at $5 than you can $10. And although the music might be to you worth $50, you can sell a lot more of those and get a lot more accomplished if you just sold them for $10. So I know I've talked for quite a while, and I hope that I didn't ramble on too much. Check out your mastering. Make sure you start slowing down, checking out your levels. I've even started doing it more since I've been taking these classes. I've done it, but now I'm doing it even more. Start showing how you think in the studio. One of the things that everybody's always fascinated by is like, what does Pharrell do in the studio? How does he think in the studio? Timberland, what does he do in the studio? When he gets there, what does he turn on first? Start showing your process, because one day you might blow up and people will want to know, and you can go back and say, hey, back in the day, I had 2 boom boxes and a cassette tape. Okay, I'll quit playing. Hey, thank you guys. Sorry about the interruptions. Sorry about the long-windedness. Some things I'm very passionate about. Take a stance. Take a stance and love one another. We don't have to agree. We don't have to think alike in order for us to respect each other and talk to each other with respect and love. And for the artists, you guys are our last chance at changing people's minds, no matter what type of artist you are, visual, performance, music, whatever. Artists still have this level of love, okay? And I know a lot are money, 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 but reach inside your heart and network and make changes. Music and the arts in general have changed so much in the world, and that's one of the reasons they took it out to schools, because they created free thinkers and people that could make changes and people that would unite quickly in love and make those changes. And so they had to get rid of that element, so they took it out to schools. But you guys are still here. You're still here, and you're still doing your thing. So yeah, make them club bangers. Talk about that girl you smacked in the booty, but never forget to also talk about what's going on in the world and how you would change it, and why can't we just make this human thing work? Sometimes just break that mold and do something for somebody else. Do it for the rest of the world. Do it in love, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, you guys have a very blessed night, and I will look forward to meeting a lot of you this year. This upcoming year, we're going to be doing a lot of things with a whole lot of independent artists. I look forward to talking with you all, and I will see you soon. One love, y'all. One love.